freedom suddenly came to me. If I felt overwhelmed by something,
Right.
I now know why.
Right.
So I can remove myself. I'm not sitting there going, why doesn't this work? The way my brain works is that I would not understand why I would feel so disappointed or so upset or emotional or, and you blame all these other things. But the minute you have understood what that is for your brain,
Right.
I'm free. I'm able to go, oh, that's okay. I know what I'm going to feel, so it's okay.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure. Ian.
Yeah. This for me is very personal because of your story and the things that we shared off camera, so to speak. And I'm really, really excited to share you and your story to my subscribers on the channel, which has been pretty insane lately. So thank you for coming on. And I always like to start with the hero's journey. So if you don't mind telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself, your journey, and we'll go from there.
I love the fact that it's actually called the hero's journey. Isn't that interesting in itself? You know me in words.
Yes.
I immediately pick up on something before we even start, because do I look at myself as a hero? And being in film, that's obviously a term we use all the time because it's one of the ways we tell stories. To describe my journey, I feel like that's interesting as well because that never ends. And on my first TED Talk, the last thing I speak about is, basically we all are going to get to one place. So therefore life is the journey. So I can give you a piece of my journey so far.
Yeah.
I'd say this is phase 1. Okay. I'm at level 47. That's how I like to determine my age. And so my levels have gone from I'll do them in decades, 0 to 10 were just trying to make it through, I think, from a child perspective, not understanding who or what and thinking life was pretty simple, but going through family dynamics. And I was adopted by my my biological mother and adopted father. So someone has to work out what that means. I have a couple of fathers, and I have the situation that meant I didn't know who I was from the very beginning.
Wow.
And that is something that takes me through each decade.
Wow.
So 10 to 20 was a time of absolute turmoil. I died once when I was on I know I'm just going for the cool pieces
I know,
here.
like, good
Sorry,
Lord.
just throwing you in.
Bruce Willis has nothing on you.
You were probably like, where did you go to school? I died. So I was on a beach in the south of France, and I was a 16-year-old girl, and I was given a couple of big glasses of Pernod, and I'd never had that before, and I drank them very quickly, and I was very depressed, and I literally died. If someone hadn't found me on the beach, I wouldn't be here today, and I woke up in a French hospital. So you've got these major moments in your life that affect each decade. There were also divorces with the family, moving schools, changing locations, university. And then the 20 to 30, I was fortunate enough to have my daughter, who is now my ex-husband. But we were together for 16 years. So it was a wonderfully interesting relationship because we definitely loved each other. But when you don't know who you are, it's very hard to be in a relationship for somebody else as well if you don't know who you are. And then I decided at 30, I know what, I want to move abroad 6,000 miles with nobody I know and see what it's like. So eventually, I think I was 33 and I moved over to LA, knowing nobody, 6 suitcases. And again, interesting times of ups and downs, highs and lows, where I was able to live out my creative ideals, writing books, directing movies, all the things that LA makes possible. And now I find myself at level 47, having experienced something this year which was the most difficult thing I think I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm sure we'll talk about that, the losing of my best soulmate, four-legged friend.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm in phase 2. So the next 47 years, if I'm lucky enough.
Right.
And who knows what that holds.
Right.
Was that enough?
That's more than enough. And as I said earlier, every time I read your work, I have to stop and pause and digest because there's just so much to it. So let's go back to that 0 to 10. This was in the UK, I assume.
Yes, yes.
And were you moving around? How did you get to France?
So, well, actually, my grandparents had a summer place that we would go to a lot, but this was actually a rugby tour that I went on with one of my friends. And I was invited over. It was a 2-week trip on the coach. And, you're 16. And I never look at it as if I've made mistakes in my life. But I've definitely had experiences where I look at them and they have contributed to making me who I am. So I wouldn't change them.
Right.
But one of the biggest things I've noticed recently is by having a 23-year-old daughter, she needs me in a way that I look back and go, wow, that's what I actually needed. And when you have that support, it's life-changing. And I feel like there was, and again, my mother was going through her experiences and her growth and what she needed to do. But there was something definitely missing that could allow me to maybe not have such huge mistakes or learning experiences.
And was that in your mind the guidance? Was that presence? All of the above? What would, looking back now with 2020 vision, what would that be?
Yeah, definitely that person to just turn to and say, can I just run this by you? Can I just check in with this? I think being British, it wasn't something that people did anyway. I think we were at a different time where, you didn't have the internet, so it's not like you could Google, I feel like this, what should I do? It wasn't at a time when even books, I had to go to the library to look at my books. When you filled, I always laugh at this, you basically only learnt what was in the encyclopedia. This was all A was, so that was it. This is all Z was, So I feel like definitely that support system and that's why I worked so hard and I work so hard to give that to my daughter, because I know what was missing.
Right. You said something that really stopped me in my tracks, which was it was really hard to be in this relationship when you didn't know who you were. Where you are now, what was that missing piece for you?
Yes, it's a great question. I remember when I was younger and I started going out with my ex-husband, I would pretend I liked things because you kind of do to think, oh, I want them to like me. And I studied Kabbalah for many, many years when we arrived in LA. And that started to put clarity on pieces like if you're going to be with someone, you can't force them because otherwise that'll just come back to bite you later on. So these little pieces kind of started to come together. And then this year I got my official adult diagnosis of autism.
Oh, wow.
Life-changing, beyond anything I could ever have imagined. Because what that now explains is the things that I can look back on and remember as certain moments or the way I felt or what I liked, what I didn't like. Now there's this official diagnosis. I go, oh, that's what that is. And it doesn't mean I'm neatly kind of putting it in a box or anything. And it's not because I need to have, letters behind everything.
Sure.
But it explains everything. And it explains why I feel in certain situations. It explains why I like and don't like certain things, need and don't need certain things. From very small things to massive, life-changing things.
Wow. Well, as you know, autism is a hot topic right now with our current environment. What does that word mean for you?
And not that I was against having these terms thrown around, but I'm very protective of maybe someone that is a level 3 autistic person because and again, my phraseology sometimes isn't correct, so I apologize if I don't get it right. My daughter corrects me all the time. But I feel like there are versions within neurodivergency that are scientifically fact. My brain does things in a different way to the way my daughter's brain works. So her ADHD brain is scientifically different to my brain. And I would also think of things like, oh, my brain is broken, something doesn't work quite right. But now understanding the science behind it, it's like you go, oh no, but that doesn't function like that for me.
Right.
So somebody else can do it this way if they're non-neurodivergent, someone with a neurodivergence of all those different levels. So having an explanation of it helps me scientifically to accept what I understand, what I don't understand, why I do things a certain way.
So before you had that diagnosis, you just kind of felt that something was off, but really couldn't put your finger on it.
Absolutely.
With this diagnosis, I want to go back to the question, like what is autism, scientifically, and also what is it in your own words?
Freedom suddenly came to me.
Freedom.
Yeah, a real sense of freedom. It's got goosebumps as I said that, because it's freeing. Like if I felt overwhelmed by something, I now know why, so I can remove myself. I'm not sitting there going, why doesn't this work? One of the things that just comes to mind now, just because we've just had Christmas, I was always so disappointed. Christmas, my birthdays, because of my expectations, but not because of a non-neurodivergent person might just have expectations but be able to move on from that, or maybe they didn't have such big expectations in the beginning. The way my brain works is that I would not understand why I would feel so disappointed or so upset or emotional, or, and you blame all these other things. But the minute you have understood what that is for your brain, I'm free. I'm able to go, oh, that's okay, I know that. So you don't have that pressure on yourself to start with now.
Wow.
I know what I'm going to feel, so it's okay.
So in those instances, what do you think was the cause of the frustration? Was it a past experience, trauma, or was it?
I think, I don't know, because I think that's the point. You can't exactly pinpoint it.
Got it.
It's the thing. It's whatever that is. I can't explain to you how when I go into CVS, which I can't go into CVS because I cannot deal with the lighting, the people, the amount of stuff that's there. I don't like the waste I see. So when I go in there, I see the world waste.
Wow.
So I don't just see a store. I literally go, oh my God, we are ruining the planet. That's what when I go into a shop, that's what I feel. Wow. So you're already on another level. So that's why I can't do shopping. But I've had to go and use that photo booth. Well, the other day, I needed to go and use that photo booth. And there's nothing more frustrating than you click the screen and it doesn't work. Again, a non-neurodivergent person might just be able to ask for help or not worry about that. I can't deal with it. I cannot deal with it. And I burst into tears.
Wow.
Now I know that and I know why. And there's a reason behind it. It's the energy in that space. It's how I'm feeling. It's all of the above. I know not to do that. I know just not to go in. I'll sit in the car. I'll let Isabella do it.
Wow.
It's life-changing.
So for any of our listeners who don't know what neurodivergent means, what does that mean for you?
Your brain works differently. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So maybe the synapses don't work in the same way, or maybe something's not actually, there's a piece that's slightly wonky or moved or dislodged, or because we're all got different outsides, so why wouldn't we have different brains? And that's the moment when you recognize this is not just something that people have made up. Okay, you don't like the words, fine. Change the words to whatever you want. I'm spicy. I've got a different type of brain. And again, that's, when you go into my apartment and you'll see I've got, 12 of the same hats but in different colours on the wall, or you'll see I've got 12 of the same dresses but in different colours, you go, oh my I see. Nobody else really spotted that.
Right,
Um,
right.
and you also just expand your understanding of it, which I think is important. Like I would have thought OCD was, I need to put things in a certain order.
Right.
It's not. That's not OCD. That's just a piece. And some people might present it in that way.
Right.
So many levels, so many different elements to it. And they don't actually like to use the terminology high functioning anymore, but I'll use it because a lot of us know what that means.
Right.
I am a high functioning person because I've had to be. I've had things in the olden days, you couldn't be left-handed, you were told to use your right
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah,
It's the same with
right.
how I learn. If I'd understood this, I could have probably been a child genius or something. But the teachers, you learn in the way they teach you.
Yeah, I'm ambidextrous because I'm naturally left-handed, but went to school with the nuns, and they would
Yeah.
hit you with a ruler. So my penmanship is actually better on the right
Yeah.
because that's what I practiced. But now, left. So I understand that. You said something that I want to go back to, which was when you got the diagnosis, it was freeing for you. A lot of people that I know, it's the opposite. When they get the diagnosis, they feel like, oh man, like I have this. Like it's almost like now I have this label, I have this condition, and so it, for lack of a better word, it bumps them out. But for you, you were able to find freedom in it, which is very fascinating. And I hope that any of our listeners here could look at it in a different way, because I think that is very freeing, to use your word, because now that you know what you're dealing with, you're not kind of groping in the dark, figuring out why am I like this, and knowing that is freeing. So thank you for sharing that,
And for other people around you.
and for other people
Because
around you. Yes.
they're able, I
Yeah.
believe, if you've got people
Yes.
around you that love you, to go, oh, I see why that might not be what they want, or I understand why they don't like that, or
Right.
it just frees everybody, I think. And I think
Right.
it can only be a positive. There's an
Right.
explanation now behind the way I feel and do things.
It's funny you say that, because I have a tendency, as you know, to go really deep into a topic for a prolonged period of time. And growing up, my friends would say, Ian, stop being so autistic again. And, I didn't think twice about it. But now that you're sharing the story, most people don't do that. Most
No.
people can't hold on to a topic for days at a time. And yeah, I need to talk to your doctor.
But that's the thing, you see. It
It's
is about
freeing.
understanding why you do
Right.
it, and also that it's okay.
Right, right.
It's okay. It's okay that I love eating food out of a bowl,
Right.
and I like using my hands.
Yeah.
I have the same bowl. I have the same glass. I have the same mug. That's okay. It's all these
Right.
little things, from the way you live to the way you're around other people.
Wow.
And I think it's something to be celebrated, how
Right.
unique
Right.
and different we all are. But definitely that moment where you suddenly think, not everybody does this.
Right,
I have that
exactly.
all the time.
Yes.
You mean you don't do it like this or think like this?
Yes.
Wow.
I honestly did not know our conversation would go here today, but I'm really happy because there was an instance wherein my coworker came into my hotel room. We were all staying, we were on site, and he saw the layout of my bathroom where everything was lined up, and it looked like a department store. Like
Yeah.
you have the toothbrush and the toothpaste and the this and that. Everything was so lined up, and he's like, "Dude, I didn't know you were autistic." But all these things that
Yeah.
and you don't, you're just like,
And it's
no, this
okay
is,
to
you don't.
not need an official diagnosis
right.
if you don't feel like I knew
Right.
I needed the answer. I'm either insane
Right.
or there is something with my brain.
Right.
And I think it's okay to get the diagnosis or not get the diagnosis.
Right.
It just depends where you're at in life.
Absolutely.
But I like Isabella says to me, I have OCD the wrong way because I don't have OCD. So when I put things, I travel in baskets. I have everything everywhere. I'm not that type of,
got it.
my autism's different.
Got
And
it.
again, understanding that when you start to research the way I literally can't put things in one suitcase. I have to have 5 bags. It's a different version of doing things. I like to have the little things that I can pick up and move. And again, just freeing for yourself, knowing what your capabilities are and what makes us enjoy and survive/thrive in our life. Because otherwise, if you're constantly going against that,
Right.
who knows what that's doing to your mental ability, to your sense of purpose and self.
Right.
If you're always trying to think, well, that's just, I don't know, I have to do it that way because everybody else does it. If it's not, don't.
I think this is a perfect segue into what I did promise my subscribers, which is things that they can use to help them finally achieve whatever it is that they want in 2026. Because we're always, coming up with this New Year's resolution. It almost feels like pressure, like at the end of the year, and then people are asking, "What's your New Year's resolution?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know." But whatever it is, studies show that before Valentine's Day come, most people fall off the wagon. Whether it's diet, whether it's working out, whether it's writing the book, reading a book, picking up martial arts, learning a new language, whatever it is, come Feb 14, it's gone, right? And I think with everything that you've just said, allowing yourself to accept that maybe the things I'm trying to change, I don't need to. Maybe 2026 is a year of acceptance, a year of being and not becoming. That might be one of the most freeing things that people can hear and think about as we go into 2026. Maybe 2026 is the year of accepting how different you are and embracing that first, and then go into developing, growing, and metamorphosis. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree with that. But I think there's an even deeper level with which to work it out, which will mean that there is no, well, I'm going to stop this before February because I'm tired or whatever. You'll like this, because if people have seen my TED Talk, this is actually, I believe, an even more important 3-letter word. Okay? Do you want to guess it?
Go for it.
Why?
Why?
It's the why.
It's the why.
Because if you can work out the why of what you're doing, then you are able to understand what you want to do in order to achieve that. For example, if suddenly somebody wants to go to the gym, what's your why? Well, everybody else is doing it. It's because I think I should be doing it. It's because I want to lose weight. But any of those go to the next level. Why? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to be like everybody else? Or what, you go through everything with a why. So for example, if I was saying my 2026, I'm pretty all sorted actually, but let's pretend I wasn't. Let's say I wanted to make another movie because I want to earn some money. Okay, why? Well, actually, because maybe I want to win an Academy Award. Why? Well, because it'd be really nice to get some recognition. Why? Because I don't feel anybody really knows what I do. Why? Eventually, when you get down to that why, and this is definitely something that isn't an immediate answer. Okay, this isn't one of those moments of go, oh, I know what it is, because there's probably a deeper why.
Correct.
And I'll tell you my 2 whys that answer every single thing I want to do. One is safety, and one is freedom. Those 2 words are my whys. With you could say anything, and I go down every single layer, I will get to one of those words. And then you're able to see things through because you understand your why. That is the most important thing when making decisions on doing something in your life
Right.
or changing things, because it's only comes down to what's in you and your heart and your soul. If you're doing it for other people, if you're doing it because you think you should, you're never going to continue those. They're not going to happen. So you need to find your foundation. What is your foundational starting point?
Wow. There's this book that I'm sure you've read, Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh, yes.
Viktor
Yeah,
Frankl.
yes, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite
Yeah.
authors. Oh, my gosh.
He mentioned in the book, and I'm paraphrasing, you can survive any what if you have a strong enough why. And so it is that why that keeps you going. And he's seen, in the camp where people would lose their why and just either light up a cigarette, which is obviously prohibited and you get shot, or just hold on to the electric fence and just end it. But those who were able to survive had this why in them that just kept them from going day after day. So that is so powerful. I read something recently that said the ability to do what you want is freedom. Wanting what you do is happiness. And so many people don't understand that. They think that just because I can doesn't mean I should. But since they don't know either themselves or their whys, they're constantly just trying things out and see what sticks. And so if I'm understanding this correctly, what you're telling our listeners is instead of looking outward for these answers, make a U-turn and go back inside and ask yourself, why do I want this to begin with?
Well, because otherwise it's same crap, different day.
Same crap,
So
different day.
so if I was to think, by moving somewhere else, then I'll be happy, or then I'll have, even if it doesn't mean because I'm moving into a bigger place or more whatever, but you're taking all of that with you. So you have to strip back to work out what your why is. It can be, as I said, it's even as simple as, everybody wants to go to the gym in January to get fit.
Yeah.
But why? Why do you want that? Because if you realize that it's not because maybe I just need to build a muscle because I'm getting older. Sure. Okay, well, maybe that's not the gym. How else can I do it?
Absolutely.
Then I'm going to stick to that.
Right.
So the location changing that we do, maybe the people around us, changing our wardrobe, they're all exterior elements.
Right.
But until we know our why, what we want to do, that won't be able to feel right. It just won't. They'll always feel something slightly out of kilter. Now, look, I may be speaking from a place here from a neurodivergent brain.
Sure.
Because I realized that my book, My Living with Intention, really works for people with neurodivergent brains. So this might not work for everybody. But the way I try to break that down is I do these written exercises and drawing exercises where I create, let's say I thought, and it's correct, I don't like the cold, I don't like the snow, but actually create my environment that I like in the Alps or Aspen or wherever. Maybe I'll like it, but I've told myself the whole time, I don't like this. But I didn't know what it was I didn't like. So it's just as important to find out your whys as well as your why nots. It's the other side of things. It's the what don't I like. We often write the list of what we need to do.
Right.
I write lists of what I don't want to do and don't need to do. They are just as important. What don't I like? Why don't I like that?
Wow. I want to underline, highlight, circle that, because you're absolutely right. The what not to do in 2026 is, I would argue, even more important than what to do in 2026, because Charlie Munger had this saying that he would tell people, I'm smart enough to do what I do, but I'm actually not brilliant or a genius or no. But he said, my focus is always, what are the things that I shouldn't be doing? And he has this kind of, it's called an inversion approach, wherein he was in the military before, and I think he was guiding pilots, right? And so he would ask himself, what should I not do in order to crash the plane? And he would come up with, well, don't be doing anything else while you're, giving directions. Okay, write that down. Make sure that, you're not giving the wrong lanes to. So he wrote down these things of what not to do, and he kept the pilot safe. He used that same framework in business. What are the things that I shouldn't do? And that's his Bible. And by avoiding those things, he gets to what he should do. So, wow, yeah, that is just as important, because everyone's trying to do more and not really reflecting on what are the things that I'm doing that are actually hindering.
Well, and also I do a lot less. I'm a huge advocate for slow living.
Slow living.
And I really believe in that. I really believe in this world of doing less to achieve more. And so that adds to that list.
Right.
So let's say you want to write a book. Well, what shouldn't you do? Be putting the TV on every night, maybe, or, unless it's going to enhance your creativity.
Right.
So it's working all of that out. And I think taking the time to do this is as important as maybe going to that gym immediately in the new year. Your mental workout is what is going to allow for the longevity of any goals that you might have.
Wow. Kat, how much time do we have left? 5 minutes. Okay. 2025 has been really hard for a lot of people. And grief has been a topic that I've personally gone through, you have. And if you're open to it, I'd love to touch on the grief that you went through and how you were able to process it in your own way. And if you're okay, I'd love to talk about that, because going back to what you said, a lot of people can't move on in 2026 until they've dealt with what happened in 2025. And I think grief is a huge topic for a lot of people.
So two things, trying to remember what the first one was, because the deal with, so I don't want to forget that.
Right.
But the first thing was you kind of asking, that's right. So I was going to explain my reason I got my diagnosis was because of the way I was grieving. My grief wasn't fitting into the neurodivergent box. It wasn't fitting into the books. It wasn't fitting into the research. It wasn't fitting into my Googling. It wasn't how my daughter grieved. And that is what opened me up to getting my diagnosis. Wow. I will say Chai's here. I always take her everywhere. She's here with me. But what's important about something you said, which I'm going to totally alter the wording and go against, is deal with it.
Right.
My grief has physically given me a hole in my heart. That hole will never heal. It doesn't have to heal. I don't need to deal with it. I don't need to get better. I don't need to get over it.
Right.
That hole will never disappear. Right. But what I can do is build around it. And I can work out how I now live in this club that I didn't want to be a member of at all. Right. The grief that we feel is allowed to affect us. Right. And I think that's important. It's Christmas right now. Right. This is hell for me. It's a Saturday. I relive my Saturday, and we're coming up to nearly 6 months. And I relive my Saturday and I clock watch what happened on that day. Oh. I would like to not have that affect me. That's a practical effect. Sure. I would like to be able to relive a Saturday without reliving it. Right. I would like to not have the pain that I feel.
Right.
But that hole is always going to be there. So how do I now, Chai's name is Chai, which is life or living. How do I now continue living, having had her as part of my life?
Right.
I got her the minute I moved here. So I have never had a year living in LA without her. 2026 is my first year in existence in LA without her. That doesn't mean it's going to be, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be hard. It's just different. And I have to work out for me what that looks like. And I think, again, neurodivergent brain, non-neurodivergent brain might handle this differently. I have handled it in a way that knows that this is going to be hard. I put my Christmas tree down at 11 p.m. on Christmas Day. I was like, I'm done with Christmas. I'm good with it. It's not the same without her. So I've done it and I've explored it in the way that I need to. And now let's get to the new year. How am I going to handle this? What do I need? Again, working out my why.
Right.
My why. What is this doing for me? What does this make me feel? Why is it important?
Right.
There's no time frame on which you need to get over your grief. There are no rules. It doesn't matter. She was and has had the biggest impact, bar my daughter, on my life. And if, in all honesty, it could be the same impact as my daughter. So you don't just get over that. You don't just replace. You don't just move on. So work out your why with that and find that. What do you need?
Wow. That is so powerful. We, especially in the West, we have a tendency to apply efficiency to people. And sometimes there are things that you just let be. And I think grief is one of those where you can't rush the process. You just have to go through it. And my father passed away when I was 9, and I'm still grieving. And I don't think I'll ever stop. But you just, as you said, you learn to live around that grief. And wow.
And it makes us who we are.
It makes us who we are.
My 2026, to kind of connect everything you've said,
Right.
is how do I want to feel this year?
How do I want
That's
to feel?
my wording
Right.
and my vision boarding. And I actually do vision boards in September. Because I think it's a really nice time to work out the last 3 months of your year. And I also like to do a re-look at it in December, January, and then I'll look at it again May. But I look at all these, maybe these little Insta videos that I enjoy that get my dopamine going, where you see this woman growing her own vegetables or people living off the grid. And I suddenly realized I was looking at a lot of these and I was like, but why? What do they do for me? What do they make me feel?
Right.
And so I find the words that I want to feel this year: simplicity, slow, safety. I want to, it was all S's actually. I want to sell my things. Right. And when you start to understand that, again, your decision making makes more sense. And you don't waste time on things that don't mean anything.
Right.
You know, it just gives you clarity and peace.
Right. On that note, Elizabeth, oh my God, wow. Thank you. This has been very helpful. And I hope that our listeners can find their why as they go into 2026 and take their time with whatever it is they're going through: grief, sadness, disappointment, frustration, and allow themselves to heal in their own way without being rushed by other people's expectations. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. This has been amazing, and I hope we get to talk soon.
Thank you.
Wow. Good Lord.
Wow. Powerful and deep and beautiful and raw and
Thank
real.
you.
I was
Good job.
fighting the tears. Good Lord. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My
I do enjoy that because it's
God.
my time of sharing, and I don't know where it comes from. I just let it come down.
No, that was so
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Kelly is here.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, let's spend some time together,
Yeah.
Ian.
know.
magic that you're going to get.
And cut.
Good Lord.
Thanks,
To run and grab her.
Dustin.
That
It
was
looked great,
powerful.
sounded great.
Thank
Oh,
you.
good.
I loved your point about CVS. I feel you on that 100%. I'm glad you vocalized that because I always hate going in there and it's just wasted space.
But I just go in there and go,
Right.
my God, this is going into the planet Earth. This is terrible.
I'm with you.